Relax, sit down, coming out of PE town. Drink, find a shot, never mind your liver, get to Gino's spot.
Gino spot!
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino spot!
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle, have a Gino shot.
Gino shot!
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino spot!
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino spot!
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle, get to Gino's spot.
Gino spot!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome and welcome Andre the Hilarious Hypnotist to my special show. We've got special shows running the whole day today, and we're collecting up. But welcome Andre, all the way from Josie.
From Joburg, thank you very much. Great to be here.
Lekker, man. I must also say thank you to our sponsors, Fitch and Leeds, and of course to Mobia for our internet, and thank you to you for coming on. We're doing these specials because we've got all these shows coming up. You're on the 23rd and 24th, just before Christmas. Just before Christmas, there we go. 23rd at 7:30, that's the evening show, and then the 24th is the matinee show. For those people who like to come during the day, and obviously going to have your Christmas Eve dinner a little bit later on. So what a better way than to come to a bit of a hypnosis show and have a bit of fun.
You're going to come. I'm also going for the Christmas supper afterwards. So
excellent.
Great afternoon show, great fun, and then off we go. Celebrate Christmas.
Oh, brilliant. Have you got some people you know here in PE as well? And I mean,
actually, you know what? It's getting frightening. I actually have so many that I've got to slot visiting hours now. So I don't know why it's kind of migrating to PE and Jeffries. And so I'm staying with one group of people. Another group are actually coming to the theatre show. And then another group are driving down the next day. So it's like, it's great to be social, but I'm not social.
Yeah, right. Are you not a social being? Are you you're a bit of an introvert, more of an introvert.
Very private, very private. The gentleman from the Huisgenoot, that one of the writers for them, reporters, was saying the other day, because we're working together on a television production, and he said to me the other day, he said, "You actually go out at all?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Just don't." He's like, "What do you do other than the show?" It's like, nothing.
That's it. But you find that a lot with entertainers that in their normal lives they're quite introverted. I speak of people like Ian von Memety, for instance, or there's quite a few. Barry Hilton is also, although he's quite out there as well, he's also quite a quiet chap when you talk to him. And you don't expect that.
It's a very weird trade, but I do agree with you. I find it, even in the Afrikaans industry, like the Nathaniels, those guys, they also incredibly private. Sorry for the dog.
Yeah.
I
love it. I've got dogs here too.
They would bark now. But I managed to go, they fixed the water piping, the water in Joburg, which, as you probably heard on radio, is a problem.
Yes.
And so now that they've switched it back on, now half of the estate's water's popping. So we've got all these plumbers fixing pipes.
Oh my word! Yeah. So the dogs are going to be bogged. We'll accept that. It's fine. Tell us, but you're not a dog whisperer, obviously. Tell us what to expect at the shows. First of all, I think the 23rd, 24th, we're coming down to PE and we're going to get a show together.
You know what? People should expect fun. I'm the hilarious guy. I pride myself in doing comedy. I say to people, don't call me a hypnotist, because that's not what I am. I use hypnosis as my medium. But I'm a comedian at the end of the day.
Yes.
And I believe I'm okay with it. I'm not necessarily brilliant, but I'm there. So what I do is I provide an hour and a half of absolute hilarious laughter. The only difference is where you guys rely on material to make your comedy, I rely on volunteers. And the audience, yes. So those that want to experience what hypnosis is, good place to come find out. Those that just want to watch, brilliant place to come and watch. I always say I'm not there to prove that hypnosis is real or not, because people go, "Oh, is it real?" It's like,
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. It's up to you
Yeah.
to go home and think about it. I'm not there to prove it. I have my own
Yes.
opinions about hypnosis and the various
Yeah.
states and how it works. So
Yeah. Okay. It's almost like I see it as almost like a different state of sleep. You get it
Yeah.
because these long distance runners that run for 48 hours at a time, they eventually start sleeping as they're running.
Is that right? Yeah. And it
Yeah.
is that same state. I mean, if you drive a car,
Okay.
you go into hypnosis. People, unfortunately, they mistake hypnosis and sleep for the same thing,
Yeah,
being
yeah,
that
okay.
it looks similar. But the
Yeah.
fact they look similar is purely because in the 1800s, the guys who discovered and named and treated with hypnosis
Yeah.
assumed it was sleep. Now we know that you're actually
Okay.
more awake, not more asleep. So
Okay,
the two
okay.
are completely different. But because
Yeah.
of, and oddly enough, it's a hypnotic trait because of what happened in the 1800s and the image that was created about sleeping and being out of control.
Yeah.
That's kind of carried across all these years. Yeah.
Yes. So that's why I'm wearing my cloak today. You see,
Uh-huh.
so I could. So I could be that guy.
I should. Yeah.
No.
Eagle eye.
Tell me. So it almost gets hold of that section of your brain that makes sense of things. When you wake up in the morning
Yes,
and you're dreaming, but your dream seems so real, and then slowly but surely the other part of your brain makes it okay. No, that couldn't be okay. Flying through the doorways, that couldn't have been real. So it puts that little part to sleep, I suppose, or things that.
Conscious part, which is the part that will
Yeah.
tell you, oh, this was a dream.
Yeah.
That takes a bit of a back seat for some reason. And the subconscious part just becomes more active. So you're kind of bypassing the little filter that says, don't do this, or might not be a good idea.
Yeah.
Kind of, are you thinking about this before you're doing it? So you bypass that filter and you allow yourself to be incredibly creative.
Yes, and open yourself up. But I will say
Yeah.
you'll never do something that you don't want to do. When you
Yes, you won't.
yeah.
You won't. The show is structured in such a way that I won't ask you to do something that you won't do.
Yeah.
But yet it comes across as being funny because, for instance, I can't say to you, I can't tell you you're a guy and make love to another guy. That won't work.
Yeah.
So what I do is I
Yeah.
say you're a guy. You want to touch the other guy's knee. Well, that does
Yes.
work.
Yes.
So, logical comedy, but it works.
Yes.
Yeah. That's how we get
tell us, give us a few things that the audience will get up to when you're doing it.
You know what? We start with the old kind of standard stuff: band, washing machine, tumble dryer, typewriter, goldfish, sprinkler. Those are staples of the show, and the reason for that is that just kind of builds that trust in the relationship and gives me a good idea of where I can go with the volunteers because you can quickly judge. How creative the person is going to be, because not everybody is creative under hypnosis. Your personality still shines through. Oddly enough, sometimes you get like an accountant and they're phenomenal, and people come up and say, but he's such a dweeb at work, and you're like, I don't know, this guy's got comedy potential.
Do you think that you actually discover people in that way?
I have. As a matter of fact, we're filming my new TV series now, which will go out in January, and two little people, one about 18 and the other one like 27, just popped out for some reason. They were at the filming, and they just, I mean, the one's a singer, and we're probably going to use him as a spot as a singer. He's phenomenal. And the other guy also just took over. It was amazing. It was like suddenly we have this really good volunteer.
Yeah, gee, was because that would it would almost be a chance for somebody to do something that they were too scared to do. Everybody is. What about outrageous stuff? I mean, what are some of the stories that you've done before?
I wrote an entire book. It was called I Can Juggle Now, which referred to an incident that happened with Richard Loring. So many years ago, but but yeah,
was he the Joseph guy? He had
the theatre and Joburg, and kind of immigrated to Cape Town and never heard from him again. So,
I think he's up in Joburg now, but I think I'm sure you did Joseph the Technicolor Dreamcoat and that stuff as well.
Yes, that's, I think that was his like starter thing. Yeah, it was Joseph. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
him
so
and
I
Bruce
wrote.
Miller. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
So the title was dedicated to what happened with him. But what was interesting was the book was just stuff that went horribly wrong in my show, or kind of really. I mean, like there was, for instance, I went to Kuruman, and they had these cows on display. So the stadium, it was grass and it was raining, and so everybody was sitting on the stadium, and they were parading thousands of cattle in front of the stadium, and then giving out prizes to the prize cow and then after that they said, and these cows were just, sorry for the words, but they were shitting everywhere. I mean, and then they didn't have a stage for me. They just plonked the chairs on the grass, and it's like, off you go.
There we go.
And,
in amongst the shit. Yes.
It was terrible. It was a nightmare. These people were breakdancing in cow shit.
In cow shit.
They were covered in it. I was covered in it. It was just disgusting.
I always say that we call it Mr. Cock-Up. Mr. Cock-Up is always just around the corner with these gigs, and usually it's something that's out of your control, like you say, cows and lighting or no sound, or if something goes wrong, it's usually something external.
Yes. You know what happened to me as well, which is kind of a funny story. In the beginning days, years ago, 1990s, when I performed at the police college, and the show was incredible because those guys would just sleep. You just shout sleep and they drop, and hypnotized thousands. I mean, we just, it's brilliant. And then I hypnotized people on stage, and I said, when I snap my fingers, I've vanished. You can't see me. And then I'd move items, and they would have a reaction. And as I kind of finished the routine and everybody sat, I noticed there's a chair empty, and I was like, what's happened here? And so I go off the side and I'm asking the stage guy, listen, is there somebody backstage? And he says, no. And I'm saying to the audience, is there somebody back in the audience that's supposed to be up here? And the audience not giving me feedback. And I'm like thinking, I've lost a volunteer, huh? And what happened was, he left. He ran out the back of the building, which, I mean, I'm so sure about, safety is very important. He left out. Maybe I was younger then. He left out the building. Yeah. He got arrested by guards outside, thinking that he was stealing something. They put him in prison, and in their holding cells. Yeah, in the college. And there was this hypnotized person thinking I'm a ghost, locked up in a prison, trying to defend himself. And it was pure coincidence that after the show was finished, because I couldn't get anybody to tell me if the guy was still there. And so after the show was finished, the security guards came and said, is anything of yours stolen? And I was like, no, why? And they're like, because we arrested a guy that came, sneaking while out of the theater. Yeah, and he was in jail.
And he wakes up in jail. He goes to a show and then he wakes up in jail.
I mean, can you imagine? Because he would have eventually woken up, but that just wouldn't have worked. It's like, where will he live? That was,
jeez, like, holy crap. Okay, and so born and bred in Joburg, Andre?
Durban, born in Durban at Addington Hospital. And I said, wow.
Yes, I know.
But I pretty much survived the day. My parents were told, you got to move from Durban immediately. Lungs gave away and everything else, and so they moved up to Joburg kind of the same week. And I've been a Joburg person ever since. So Cape Town and those places, like, why they ask, why don't I move down to Cape Town? But Joburg's good. I have like. Now, currently, I'm doing my 9-week run at the Monte Casino. So that's So I enjoy coming back to Joburg and then going for 3 or 4 days and coming back to Joburg. I enjoy that.
That's fantastic to be able to do 9 weeks. I mean, that's your craft gets so well oiled,
I love it. It's like kind of like a day job, but not having a day job. Because I don't, I'm honest. When I have to do these radio interviews in the morning, I kind of go, are these people for real? You sit in traffic bumper to bumper. You can't move.
Yeah.
Taxis are
No.
driving in front of you. Traffic lights are manned by hundreds of unemployed people because they're dead in
Yeah.
Joburg.
Yes, of
So I
course.
was
Yes.
counting 9 the other day. 9 people coordinating
And
traffic at one traffic light.
one
Yeah, and I'm
traffic
like,
light. Oh
wow, you
no.
guys do
Yes.
this.
No.
So
Yeah.
when I
Jeez.
go for interviews, I learn to be appreciative of my career.
Yeah, for sure. And then,
Yes.
and so, did you have did you do anything before you started with the hypnosis? What sort of got you into it?
You know what? I started my first TV ad at the age of 4.
Oh wow!
One of those
Which one was it?
prodigies, eh? So we were laughing about that the other day on an interview because I said,
SABC.
no, you know what? I was on the big screen. I don't think we had TV then. But this
Okay,
would
okay.
be-
So it's a movie.
I mean, I was 4. I was born 69, so that would have been like 74. Did we have TV?
Probably a Chesterfield ad or something.
Yeah, but I was in a toy shop ad. Yeah, the kids smoking it up. Yeah. I won. Because it was before James Bond movie, and it ran for several years. And I actually did see it when I was 10 or 11 at a
Jesus.
cinema. So
Okay.
I had no recollection of it until I was like sitting in
Yeah.
a cinema one day and was like, "Hey, that's me."
Hey, that's me.
I started there, kind of went into the magic, and always did the drama training and the theatre. And was I'm
Yeah.
going to be on television.
Yeah.
And then just before I went to the army, I was going to go to the circus. Well, I did. I went to the circus. My first ever
Yeah.
show in the circus was in PE at
Okay, all right.
at the law courts. Yeah, I was juggling
Longports,
for
yeah.
Oswald.
Showgrounds.
Yeah. At the show.
Yes,
Yes. So I was
yeah.
there doing
Okay.
the juggling thing,
Oh,
and
juggling.
hated it. I mean, I was like,
Okay.
my parents were, you can't go to the circus. What have you done to our family?
Yeah.
And, but
So
yeah,
you
I
actually
went.
worked at the circus.
I did. It was terrible.
Yes.
It was.
Yeah. Do you live in one of those train trailers?
Yes. Yeah. It was, and yeah. I mean, you've got like a little square box. You've got a bucket to wash with. A toilet is the closest petrol station. It was, in those days, it wasn't petrol stations like now. I mean, it was
No.
if the petrol station
Right.
had a toilet, So I mean, different kind of thing. And I admire those people. I still go to the circus every year. If they hear, I go. I make time for the circus. But what a lifestyle to live. Hey, those people dedicate years of their lives to perfecting some strange little skill that makes no sense.
Yes.
And then
Yes,
they go
you're
live
right.
in a caravan in dirt and grime and do the skill. It's
I know.
amazing.
And just travel around from town to town. It's like it's like a gypsy thing. and
They've got
your,
these incredible skills.
yeah, your biggest shows, the biggest kind of shows that you've done.
Full stadiums. So, biggest I've done, 4,000 people was the biggest.
Wow,
Carnival
that's
City.
amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
I got involved with a charity. I can't remember what their name was, but they were Ster-Kinekor and New Metro both belonged to them, and they then toured me, and they used to be on for 3 or 4 nights at a time. And the woman came back one day and says, "You know what? Instead of that, let's just do it. Let's just do one big show." And I was like, "You're not going to get people." And they sold 4,000 tickets. It was I knew that was where I wanted to be, but sadly, I mean, that's not really an option for us.
I suppose at that stage, I suppose the movies were also everybody was going to movies. So they put those adverts out. You get people in to come and watch, and so absolutely, I can see how it was done, and that's fantastic that they chose you to do that, because
it was brilliant. It was a very good working relationship. Sadly, they disbanded the charity. Because it was an amazing charity. It raised stacks of funds, and the SABC was involved. So as you say, there were these ads running everywhere. It was really brilliant. But sadly, Ster-Kinekor divorced itself from the charity.
Okay. Tell me, during your shows, what are your best volunteers, or your audience members? What do you look for? What qualities do you look for?
You know what? I never know what the show's going to do, and I mean, as a fellow performer, you would know, I think the comedians say to me that's the most frightening part of my job is I actually go up there and I have no clue as to what the hell's going to happen. And some nights we have phenomenal volunteers. I'm like, this is like I'm just trying to like snapping my finger and I'm going, this is just so easy. And other nights the show, it's a living dead. It's a living dead. So some people, some places more likely to be hypnotized. Like I love Bloemfontein. Now I always make a cheap joke and say I don't have to hypnotize people in Bloem. I just wake them up. And so it's a bit of a bad taste when I go into town. It's like you say nasty things about it. But Bloemfontein people are very susceptible to hypnosis. They're a great bunch of people. They come to the shows, they go under, and they're funny. More so
you're
than
open people that are keen to have fun.
Yes. If you are keen, I mean, PE in East London has been it's been a source of wealth for me. Volunteer-wise, I think my previous TV series on CakeNet, I think we had 90% of the people came from PE in London,
really?
Volunteer-wise. Yeah, we didn't use Durban, we didn't use Cape Town.
Yeah.
I mean, we were flying them from PE
from Eastern Cape. We're nice people down here, Andre. We're good people down here.
Well, I love the place. I go there.
Absolutely, and shows that you've done down here before. I mean, you have been here before. I know. When last were you down? I can't even remember now.
Not so long ago, to be honest. Probably about 6 months ago. I popped into a venue there, and before that, I actually because I used to do your opera house, but not so safely.
No, it's also it's just so difficult to get in there, get a show in there, and be able to. If you don't already have a sold out show, you're gonna have to be paying some money. Yeah, the costs are high.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, when I did it, it was still government theatres, government-run theatres, so they were incredibly cheap, well funded, and there was a complete structure there. Yeah, now that's kind of gone by the wayside. So I have to rely on private venues, which is what makes you guys so brilliant at Centrestage because I have a venue.
Gary says he did 1996. He did your first run at the Opera House. He said it was 2 weeks.
Actually, 1994 led the True Age show. 1994.
Oh, that was the year I got married.
Oh, is it? Yeah. And it was
30 years.
Gary took me to the Opera House, and we didn't know each other. And I hope I wasn't too difficult with him, but I was a bit of a prima donna those days, so as I got older, I learned to respect the fellow performer. Yeah.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Gary's still speaking to me, which is good.
He's fine. He's into forgiveness. He doesn't hold a grudge.
Oh, good.
No, but that thing, like as you get older and you get more experience, you realize that, and it's so easy. People can talk all they like. It's put them on stage. Let's see what you can do. That's the answer. And clearly you've been doing this for 30 plus years. It's going to be it's a slick show. Yeah. Any challenges? Sorry. So people say
people say. I mean, I had one again yesterday say, you are such an easy. Well, as a matter of fact, Gary said that as well. I mean, he said you are such an easy artist to work with, and I'm like, it's actually years of experience. You get to know that guy on the sound is as important to your show as you are to that show.
Yeah, for sure. You do.
Yes, it's not understanding we all work for the same. We all have the same love and passion, and we all spend late hours at night dedicated to the same cause. So fair enough.
And the experience always helped you with difficulties. What sort of challenges have you had in your shows? Like things going wrong, and how do you sort of overcome that?
Well, as I say, I've had like 1 or 2 shows where nobody's been hypnotized. That's happened, sadly.
Then the comedy comes.
You get very clever, and I get people up. I was saying I did a show in Nigel the other day, which I don't know if you guys know Nigel. It's in Joburg, a little town in the middle of nowhere. Never been there in my life. Knew about it, but hadn't been there. And it was in a barn, and it was for a church. Now hypnosis in churches.
They have a fight every now and again.
Not big friends, and so I went there, and I asked for volunteers, and they wouldn't budge. These people were like, "We are sitting," and I managed to get the minister up, and I got him hypnotized. And so the end to that story is I kind of say, well, then I did the miracle healing. Oh, no. Cut that line out of there.
No, they don't
No more
like
miracle
that.
healing. But
No,
but he jumped around
there's
like
always
Washington, so.
there's always been that fun, and I think it's the idea of that people aren't quite sure what happens during a hypnosis, and it's it's got these connotations sometimes. Have you got any favorite routines or things that you do that your audiences particularly like enjoy? Something that really goes down.
You know what? When I take away somebody's finger, the number 2, and he then ends up with 12 and 11 fingers, and there's a whole routine with that. That's always a crowd pleaser. And then I make them demand their finger back speaking Chinese. That's a crowd pleaser. I watch lifeguard, rescuing people in the audience and giving them mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Absolute crowd pleaser. And then oddly, shall I say it, Kurt Darren. We got.
They're going to do Kurt Darren.
Yeah, very.
You are Kurt Darren. Hop, hop, spinnekop.
Hop, hop. Now, interesting enough, Kurt and I was in the army together. We were in the entertainment unit, which is, I say that's why we lost the war, because both me and him are training in Golden Troops. I mean, could you imagine a worse show coming to a border, where you're fighting for yeah. But so he said to me, did you ever hypnotize Kurt? And I said, yeah, he's been hypnotized before. And she said, do you ever tell him he's a singer? And I said, yes. And she said, well, you forgot to wake him up. So,
Kurt's a legend. We had him a little while ago, and
you guys had him recently as well, yeah.
Yes, he's such a good guy, such a really nice guy. Completely down to earth, and like you say, with that experience, there's no prima donna about him. He comes in and he does his thing.
Very, very similar in approach and appearance. I think we both have. We both come out of the background. We both kind of did the entertainment unit in the army. Toured around on the borders. Kurt was an English singer. He couldn't even sing Afrikaans,
Oh, really?
And I was like this little magician, come juggler, come hypnotist. It just depended on what part of the program we were in. So But that was kind of where we built up our experience. Yeah.
A lot of the guys went through army and then hooked into entertainment section, musicians or that sort of thing. Now, doing these shows, what are the common misconceptions that people have about hypnosis? I mean, the things that they get wrong.
I think the biggest one is people think it's that I can control you, that I gain some form of control over your mind. The opposite thing is you hypnotize yourself, you bring yourself out of hypnosis. So I have very little to do with any of the process. And this is why hypnosis is kind of like a bit tricky, because you've got to rely on that person and the way they've hypnotized themselves. So I think that's one of the common misconceptions. The other one is religious, misconceptions that you open yourself for evil. I mean, once again, you hypnotize yourself, and it happens when you drive a car. It happens before you go to bed at night. So this would then all be opportunities to open yourself for the devil. Not possible. The third one I think is, what if somebody gets stuck? That's another favorite, is, or what if somebody doesn't wake up? Which people are worried about that. I always say it's more difficult getting them hypnotized. So let's not worry about the waking up, but till the end of the show.
They're going to wake. They'll wake up for
sure.
We'll
worry about. I said, just leave them. We'll go home and they'll wake up. So
is it that the people that sort of do they lose their inhibitions a little bit when I suppose when you're hypnotized?
You know what? They get permission. It's like a permission slip to do things that you wouldn't normally do, and there's no repercussions for it. So, sometimes they go, "Oh, I'm sorry," when they're sitting on somebody's lap or whatever, and I go, "Don't blame them, blame me. It's me." So you get a pass to do whatever the hell you want to, and I'm taking responsibility. And obviously, we keep it safe, but some people don't have morals. I mean, I've had the nude ones, and the show can get dirty. So you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what the hell's going to happen.
If you're prepared to do it in real life, then you're prepared to do it on stage. It's like
I always think of they motivate.
And I always think of Duck Charles. I don't even know Duck who does the barnyard
That's
stuff.
I know Duck. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, Duck is the quietest of guys, but we got
Yeah.
him on stage doing Sticky Fingers for the first time about 1992,
Yeah.
and he just absolutely went bedorned on the stage. And I think it's,
Okay.
it's something like that, where all of a sudden you're allowed to do this. It's okay,
Yes,
you know.
yes.
And
You finally given permission. Yeah.
so it's a good idea to if you are a shy person and you'd always thought to yourself, hey, I'd like to be on stage. It's the perfect show.
It is, and you don't know what comes out. You don't know what personality you're suppressing. You know, I mean, as I say, it's amazing because people come to me afterwards and like, that guy's an accountant. He doesn't do anything in the office but stare at books, and it's like
Look at him now.
this total different personality comes out. Yeah. So
Yeah.
phenomenal. Yeah.
Well, I think before we wrap it up, we have to have a few more questions about things that have gone wrong in shows as well. I mean, I know
Okay.
entertainers have always got these stories about the cock-ups.
Yes. Yeah, I do. I have a history of them. It's like, in fact, shall I? Because I rely on the audience as well. I once said to a guy, you're Superman, and he flew into the audience, and for some reason, and I kind of go, don't fly, walk, run, don't. I'm very, don't do this, don't do that. And he went into the audience and he just rescued the biggest lady in the show. I mean, you couldn't get bigger. She was massive. And I can say this because, in case if there's a person who's going, oh, don't fat shame. I used to weigh 174 kilograms. So I think when Gary told me I was like 140, 50. Yeah, so like a big guy. Yeah, I could fill a theater on my own, eh? So he rescued this lady and he picked her up. And I could see he was now flying back to the stage, but I could see this wasn't going well, eh? This Superman wasn't coping. She had kryptonite. And he got he got her like halfway there, and he just let her go. He just dropped her.
Oh my God.
He just gave in. And she got injured. I mean, we got her out there, got her into an ambulance. And she wasn't badly injured. She bruised her bum.
Yeah.
But it was so funny because you could see this guy was just rescuing. I mean, he was Superman, and he could rescue the biggest person, and this was just.
Check how strong. I'm very strong.
Like a difficult thing. There's difference between what you can do in reality and what you think you can do. He
wants to show off his strength, so he picks the biggest person in the room.
Brings the biggest bloody person up on stage, and off they come. It was. So that was kind of one of those. And then I was in Secunda, which is my first
mining
ever.
town.
Yeah, and my first ever kind of date came in Secunda, so I kind of go back there, memories, never saw the person again, but there's always good memories. And so what I do is I tell people to run up on stage to hit me, and then I say sleep just before they hit me, and in Secunda I said sleep, I just ignored me, and he laid into me. He hit me. Yeah, I had to go to hospital. Yeah, he was covered, and I was like, sleep, and I wasn't getting
You get yourself into cuck.
Yeah. So that routine is no longer in the show.
Right.
For safety reasons. I'm a bit older now, so
You want to get more. Don't need to get more.
Those were 20s. But I ended up in hospital. I got beaten so much. So who knows what that guy suppressed? But when I provoked him, got myself smacked.
Okay.
Really well.
Tell me, do you use his hypnosis to stop smoking and that sort of stuff as well?
I don't do therapy. There are most times I've got like pretty good therapists, and you need to see a therapist 3 or 4 times. So I'm not in town long enough to do it. A lot of people want me to do it. They're like, no, but we saw your show. You're the one, But I've got people that I refer them to. I must admit, I'm a big supporter of hypnotic therapy, hypnotherapy, but I'm not a big proponent of doing it myself. I find it incredibly boring. I mean, they just sit and talk for an hour. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So I appreciate there are people that want to do it, and there's people that are really good at it. But I avoid. Yeah.
And mentors, people that you've worked with before that got you into the trade, you know.
Yeah. My initial exposure to hypnosis was a guy called Max Colley. So if you know Max Colley,
yes,
okay, then it's True Age is coming out, because he passed away in 1990.
Is he long gone now?
So, 1990, he passed away at 80 something. I think he was 87.
No way.
He was still performing. So I was like,
geez,
my pension plan, I don't have one either, so I'll also be doing it at 87. But he was pulling full houses, you know. He was sorry, I just need to decline. Sorry about that. He was pulling full houses, and you know, he was selling out. And I was saying the other day, I had one volunteer on stage the other night, just one, and I said to them, you know, the last show I ever saw of Max Colley, he had one volunteer on stage, and just a lady, and the show was brilliant, and he got a standing ovation at the end. Brilliant show. And so there I am at the Monte Casino, one person up on stage, and she's a brilliant volunteer. And I said to the audience, oh, that was the last show I saw before he died. He died like a month later. So I was like, whatever you do, this is not a standing ovation show. It's like,
it's not going to be the same way.
It's like, we'll stop it there.
Like, so Max Colley, yes, I absolutely remember him.
Yeah. So Max Colley was big. There was a guy called Derek Dennis, who also very big in the comedy circuit, and so also 1995-ish. And he was the guy that picked me up and kind of put me into venues and really gave me my first breaks. Sadly passed away. You know, he never really made money, and then finally inherited a fortune and passed away kind of literally like a month later. So nothing, never spent any of the he inherited millions, and never spent a cent.
Oh my word.
Twisting the tail. But he's the guy that kind of took me on.
To wrap it up, it's obviously 23rd and 24th. What can people expect again? I know we said in the beginning, but you can wrap it up with that, and then because I think 23rd and 24th, just before Christmas, is going to be great fun. It's absolutely ideal. I'm coming in from Joburg just for PE. No, I'm just doing Joburg this year, so it's a special appearance. People can expect what they saw earlier this year, which has been incredible. I've had brilliant shows in PE, so people can expect the same. I'm there 23rd at 7:30 at night, and then on the 24th 1:30, so that you can have a bit of a Christmas entertainment and also still do your for the family as well. It's family entertainment.
Yes, it's absolutely family. A lot of people ask, is it for the family? Yes,
for kids,
it's safe.
That's no problem.
I swear once in the whole show I've got like one little routine that has a swear word, and I'm always kind of pride myself about family friendly. So you bring the family, bring mother, bring father, bring children. Okay.
Oh, excellent. I've looked forward to that. 23rd and 24th of December. Andre, the hilarious hypnotist.
Well, that's a word.
It's quite a thing. Andre, the hilarious hypnotist. 23rd and 24th at Centrestage at Baywest. Thank you so much for your time, Andre. It's been fantastic getting to know you.
Fantastic. It was awesome. Lovely meeting you. And we'll see you in December, in 2 weeks.
Okay, in a week's time. We'll see you then. Cheers, Andre.
See you then.
Relax, sit down. Coming out of PE town. Drink, find a shot. Never mind your liver. Get to Gino's spot.
Gino spot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino spot.
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle. Have a Gino shot.
Gino shot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino spot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino spot.
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle. Get to Gino's spot.